Am I an idiot for getting mad about my boyfriend's guy nights? So me and my boyfriend, C, have the same friend group. There's 5 guys and 3 girls including myself who are all dating guys in this group. For context, I was introduced to the group 4 years ago and I started dating C over a year ago. He joined a year before we dated. Anyway, on to the story. So the boys in my friend group have started a thing called Guys Night where they go out and do everything we all do together but without us girls. Here's the thing, all of my friends are boys. I don't know the girls in the group too well, and while I have friends outside the group, I'm nowhere near as close with them as I am with this group. They say they need to spend some quality time with their friends and that if I went they'd have to invite their girlfriends. And it's not every so often, it's every 2 weeks on a Saturday, which is the one day I can go out. So basically, while my boyfriend goes out with all my friends, I have to be stuck at home by myself. And what's worse is when we all do hang out, they constantly bring up stuff that happened on Guys Night saying you had to be there. This had been going on for months. Last night my boyfriend came over to mine from a Guys Night really happy and was texting his friends when I asked him why I couldn't go. He made a vague gesture at my chest and crotch saying I wasn't a guy. I then asked him why he couldn't skip it to spend the night with me and he rolled his eyes. I lost it. I started crying and screaming at him, calling him an idiot for allowing me to be completely isolated when I've told him how shitty it is. He ended up leaving and called me a butch. He's staying with one of our friends who's saying I was being the idiot for yelling at him that way. The girls all agree with me though, and I don't know if I should apologize. Edit. I feel like everyone is confusing what I'm saying. I'm not mad he has his own hobbies, that's amazing. I'm just upset that I'm being excluded because of my gender from my friends who I introduced him to. I've been told explicitly this by him and his friends. Also, we don't live together and I only see him a few times a week. Edit 2. I should also add that my boyfriend sees all his friends during the week, but they schedule Guys Night on the one night I can go out. As I said in a comment, I see him 2-3 times a week and he sees them at least 4 times, 5 on Guys Night. I see my friends once a fortnight. Update. So about 2 weeks ago I posted here asking if I was an idiot for getting mad at my boyfriend for his guy nights. The post didn't get a lot of attention, but the attention it did get was controversial and there were a lot of differing opinions, so I figured I'd do an update as a lot has happened. So after I posted, I ended up contacting the girlfriends in the group to see what was up, and we started noticing some fishy stuff. Their boyfriends and the guys in the group would say the exact same things to them as they did to me. Stuff like, we'd invite you but then the other girls will want to come. We also figured out that there were other nights that all the guys were free but that wanted to do setters for some reason. One of the girls, H, was suspicious for many other reasons, so she checked her boyfriend's phone. I don't condone what she did at all, BTW, but in this circumstance I excuse it. While looking, she found a group chat called Boys Night which she had never heard of. She was super suspicious at this point and clicked it to be greeted by a bunch of very interesting messages from the boys in our group. Well, guess what? Turns out Guys Night was really go to a pub and cheat on your girlfriend night. The message was in reference to one of the girls my boyfriend was sleeping with last week. In fact, all the other guys except one were cheating, while the other knew but kept quiet. Another lovely discovery from the chat was that he hasn't been using protection with the other women or with me. Birth control. Meaning not only has he been cheating, he has also been putting me at high risk of an STD, while also risking mine and my elderly grandfather's life because of COVID. Needless to say, we've broken up and I feel better for it. But right now I'm friendless, single and waiting on STD results, which doesn't feel fantastic. So yep, definitely not the update I was hoping to do, but life clearly doesn't turn out the way you plan. Edit. Wow, I really was not expecting this response. Thank you for all the kind words. I'm at work at the moment and will try to respond as much as possible, but from the bottom of my heart, thank you all. And also thank you for the award. I'm very overwhelmed by all the kindness. Edit 2. Thank you again for all the kindness. I just thought I'd add a few things. 1. COVID isn't bad where I am. But when we hang out we social distance with masks. You can't social distance during sex, which is where my fear of COVID comes from. 2. One of the girls dumped her boyfriend, who wasn't cheating but knew, and the other took him back. He was cheating. And finally 3. I'm STD free. I got a call an hour ago and I'm so completely relieved now I can start to move on. Not an idiot. I don't know Opus, and have no reason to call you a liar. But this just seems a bit too convenient to really be true. Like, you wanted to be right, so supposedly everyone was this evil person and all the women were just innocent victims. It just doesn't seem real to me. Mainly because, while I know people who have cheated on their sig other, the fact that the guys supposedly had a standing evening every other week to do it just seems a bit much. What would you do if your cheating boyfriend gave you an STD? Let me know in the comments and buckle up for this insane next story. Am I an idiot for kicking a friend out of my house for what she said? Earlier today I had 2 friends over to watch a game and catch up as social distancing rules eased up a bit in my area. We're all women in our early 30 seconds. One friend, let's call her A, has had a very tough couple of years. She lost her husband last year. He was on deployment when he passed away, and tragedy struck again when her 6-year-old son passed away from cancer a few months ago. Needless to say, she was and still is devastated, and this was the first time she felt like hanging out since the loss of her son. My other friend, let's call her B, is very traditional and religious, while friend A and myself are not religious at all. But our differing views have never been an issue and we've gotten along just fine with friend B since we met her 5 years ago. Friend B has brought up what she believes are the benefits of religion to us a few times in the past, but always dropped the subject when we weren't responsive to it. Neither friend or I ever held any ill feelings towards her about this, as she wasn't too pushy with her beliefs. On to the situation that took place today. We were listening to friend A pour her heart out and doing our best to console her while being a shoulder to cry on. Friend A, through tears, said I don't know what I did wrong in my life to deserve to lose her husband and son. Instantly, friend B exclaimed, well, I can tell you that. You didn't allow God and the Bible into your life, so God punished you for it. Can you blame him? Friend A just looked at her in awe. I lost it. I yelled at her that what she said was totally uncalled for and unbelievably hurtful. Then I got up, opened the front door and told her to get the hell out of my house and never contact me again. She tried to backtrack and say that she wasn't trying to be hurtful, but I wasn't having any of it. I yelled again, just get out of my house right now. Don't make me throw you out like a piece of trash. She huffed and left. Friend A was bawling at this point, but said thank you. We continued talking and she calmed down after a while. Looking back now, I realized that I possibly could have handled the situation better. Both friend A and I never thought friend B would say something like that. Maybe I overreacted, I don't know. Am I an idiot? Edit. I didn't expect this to take off as much as it did and I really appreciate all the comments, messages, and awards. I want to clarify why I think I may have overreacted. I always thought of myself as tolerant and a person who respects other people's views and beliefs, no matter how extreme. This situation made me react in a way that, in my mind, didn't make me a tolerant person because I did throw someone out of my house for saying something that I thought was out of line. But it still was part of their belief system. This is the reason I wanted opinions from the fellow Redditors, as I obviously can't be unbiased here. Thank you all for your input. Update. It's been a few weeks since the situation happened, so I will start off by saying that friend B did not apologize to friend A for what she said. Matter of fact, she hasn't reached out to either one of us since then. We also didn't reach out to her. Unfortunately, B's words from that day really got to friend as she struggled with survivor's guilt and questioned her upbringing, lifestyle, views on religion, etc. as she doubled her therapy sessions and I spent my free time keeping her company. A couple of weeks ago, I went over to her place and found her reading a Bible and, almost obsessively, flagging pages. She said she was researching to check if what B told her was true. She started reading excerpts and telling me her interpretations. This behavior did scare me a bit, so I suggested she bring this up to her therapist. It was the only thing I could think of to help calm her down. She did talk to the therapist, who suggested she perhaps talk to a pastor instead of trying to come up with her own conclusions. She asked me to go with her, which I did, but told me to just wait for her at the church while she talked to the pastor privately. After, she said that she felt better and was more convinced that B was full of it. She also seemed calmer, so I believe that conversation did help her. I was at her house on Friday and she told me that she still thinks about what was said, and although she feels much better after talking to the pastor, he's only one person and what if he is wrong? I tried to reassure her again and talk through her feelings, but I could tell it was still eating at her. I had a feeling she might spiral again. Then I had an idea. I told her about the post I made here and explained why, how it works, etc. She's not a Reddit user. I pulled up my original post and asked her to read the comments to show her how hundreds of people, religious and non-religious, felt about what was said. We spent the evening reading each comment. She cried, she laughed, she was surprised and overwhelmed at the amount of support and reassuring words from all these strangers. I could tell she was more and more relieved as we read. She has been in a much better state of mind since then, so seeing hundreds of people disagree with B's words definitely had a positive impact on her. So dear Redditors, thank you from the bottom of my heart for helping my friend with your kind words and reassurance. She has a long road ahead of her in this grieving process, but she's going strong. Not an idiot. Wow, the tremendous effort and perseverance you took to reach into your friend's darkness and haul her out is wonderful to see. She was hanging on a ledge by her fingertips, your ex-friend stomped on her fingers, and you just dove down after your friend and stuck with her and got creative out of concern. She's lucky to have you, and smart enough to know it. Well done. Now for the next story. Am I an idiot for objecting to Girls' Day? I'm a 28Y, male and my immediate family is all women. Mostly this is because I was raised by my mother and have no contact with my father's side of the family due to a messy divorce when I was young. My 2 sisters, early 32nds, my 3 aunts, 2 who are my mother's sisters and 1 married into the family and married my aunt, and they have an assortment of close friends of the family, all of which are women that also go to these events. About 3 years ago, my mother had an idea to do a girls-only weekend. Originally this was to see one of the Magic Mike movies, and because it was such a hit they started to do these weekend outings once or twice a month. Originally it didn't bother me, because I'm an adult and I have my own life, and my own house, and I really didn't even think about it. But an incident recently made me annoyed at the whole concept. My aunt's birthday was in January and normally we go to her favorite restaurant for her birthday, which also incidentally is my favorite restaurant. So I bought her a present and a card, and waited for an invitation and none came. When I asked what was going on for her birthday, I was told they celebrated it early on their girls' day because she was going to be out of state during her birthday. This kind of irked me because when I mentioned I bought her a present, my mother told me to just drive over to her house and give it to her. I felt pretty left out since I am the only male in my immediate family. Having a girls' day is the equivalent to saying, hey, let's celebrate my birthday, but not invite him. I griped about it and was told that I was basically being self-centered and that she can celebrate her birthday however she wants. I agree with that, but once again, I'm the only one being left out and it feels shitty. The proverbial straw that broke the camel's back was I was just just informed that they were planning a summer vacation this year as girls only too. And when I asked my mother what about the vacation we normally take as a family, she told me that they can't afford to do both, so they are just doing the girls only vacation this year. At this point I was very annoyed and had a loud argument with my mother and sister, telling them that it's really shitty that twice a month they have group activities and specifically exclude me, and on top of that are now even taking vacations and excluding me. Nothing came of the argument and they wouldn't budge, so I decided I needed a break from my immediate family because they don't consider my feelings relevant. So I removed myself from the family group chat and deactivated my Facebook. Now my phone is being blown up and I'm being told that I'm immature and I need to grow up. I responded that a lot of grown people don't see much of their family at all and I'm just going to follow that example. Am I the idiot here? Update. This last month has been kind of wild for me, so I haven't had an opportunity to update this until now. So the descriptions of my family and my family situation in this thread was specific enough that one of my family members found out about it and confronted me. Due to the fact that I had deactivated my Facebook and was only receiving text messages, I didn't realize what was happening before I was ambushed by it. My sister, the oldest, confronted me about it and asked if it was me who made the thread, and I confirmed that it was. And she insisted I was being shitty for airing the family's laundry like that. I responded that I in no way did that, as I was speaking very generally and never identified who my family was. This spread to my family and now the thread was shared on Facebook and everyone was shown. I was invited to a family meeting, we never have those, where I was sat in front of a firing squad of angry women who told me that what I did was wrong and demanded an apology. They said that I knew they weren't excluding me and because I gave everyone that impression I owed them an apology. I replied that I absolutely did not know they were not excluding me, and included examples of things they did, such as the birthday dinner, going to an amusement park, and going to a baseball game. Once again, they characterized this as a girls-only event of fun where boys just weren't allowed or welcome because they wanted to talk about things guys wouldn't be interested in. I replied that she needs to stop saying guys because there is only one guy who would have been invited and that's me, so what she's really saying is it's a no-opus event, not a girls-only event. They explained that it wasn't excluding me because regardless of whether I was interested in the event, the conversation would have bored me because I'm not a girl. At this point we were going around in circles, so I just explained my perspective. I said that I'm the only male in our immediate family. When the people in my immediate family get together on a regular basis, not a one-off or once in a while, and don't include me, regardless of what they called it, I feel excluded. I explained that the breaking point was the family vacation, and that there was absolutely no reason to leave me out of a vacation I was always invited to, particularly when that's the only family vacation we do and they've stated they cannot afford a second one. At the end of this family meeting, I was never given an apology, no one tried to empathize with my perspective, and I was accused of many things that I didn't do by any reasonable interpretation. I told my mother and my sisters that we reached a breaking point in our relationship and that I was going no contact for a while. I told them I'm an adult, and I have my own life, and the reason I wanted to be involved was because I didn't want one of those family relationships where you only see your family at holidays. If that's not what my family wants, then it's okay. But I told them that I was not going to be involved with people who made me feel shitty and intentionally leave me on the outside looking in of my own family. My mother, sisters told me that if I was going to lie about them to everyone that they don't care. At this point, my relationship with my family is over. I left that family meeting and have not reactivated Facebook and have not received any contact and have not initiated any contact. Not an idiot. I'm so sorry, Opus. I wish you speedy healing, difficult as it may be, since at least one family member is reading. Let me say you're miserable people if the general thrust of the story matches Opus's telling of it. Shame on you. Also, you're nuts if you think a catty group is going to be satisfied with ostracizing just one person. Look around your group and ask yourself who's next. Not an idiot. If the family is reading this, you guys just lost someone who loved you enough to want to spend time with you. How can a mother exclude her own son? How can a sister not defend her own brother? Shame on you guys. It sounds like this guy is serious. Say goodbye to one of the only people that ever gave a shot about you guys, because even if he does come back, it'll never be the same. I would never do this to my family. Honestly, you guys disgust me.